Hello and welcome to episode 57 of Novel Knits. My name is Dehnel and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about what I'm knitting and what I'm reading. Thanks so much for joining me today. My lighting, I can tell, is not great. Here it is a very gloomy day in southeastern Wisconsin where I live with my husband and our 2 children, and I'm dealing with artificial light, and I don't know, I hope the colors of everything I'm going to show today turn out really well so that you can see what I want to share, but if not, I apologize. Yeah, before we get started, I am Novel Knit Girl on Instagram and Ravelry if you want to connect with me outside of this channel. And everything I talk about will be listed in the description below this video. So links to Ravelry for patterns and yarns, and then all the books that I talk about at the end will be listed below, as well as anything else that I bring up. I'll try to link below as well. So thank you. Before we get really started today, we have reached a couple milestones on this channel and I have a little giveaway to celebrate. So I'm really excited about it. I've reached 500 subscribers, and it's also, I've been doing this for 4 years. So this is, we passed my 4-year podiversary, and that seemed like a reason to celebrate. I really haven't enjoyed this channel being relatively small for a long time because I feel like I kind of know you all, those of you that comment and interact with me. It's really been wonderful, but it's nice to grow too and make more friends. So thank you to everybody who's here. I'm really excited. One of my friends, Nancy Wheeler, KnitSipHappy, who I have knit many of her socks. I have many more to knit. I think I own almost all of them, all of the patterns. She is a wonderful human being and a wonderful pattern writer, and she has offered to donate 4 of her sock patterns as prizes to celebrate my 500 subscriber 4-year podiversary. So if you would like to win one of Nancy's patterns, please comment below and just use the word socks, because she does primarily do sock patterns. So if you are not a sock knitter and still want to leave a comment but don't want to be entered into the drawing, just avoid that word. But if you would like to be in the drawing, just add that word anywhere in your comment. You can even just comment socks and I will add you to the drawing. And it is also winner's choice. So if there's one of Nancy's socks that you're interested in, it's winner's choice for any of her self-published patterns. So thank you, Nancy. That is so generous of you and so kind. And thank you so much for helping me celebrate. Okay, and then I also, if you've been here before, we are doing Shop Your Stash 2024. We are in the last month of this make-along, and I have prizes. I realize that I've never shown the prizes that I have for this make-along, so I'm gonna show them right now really quickly before we get into all the yarny stuff. So I have 2 physical prizes for Shop Your Stash 2024. The information for the make-along will be listed below. It's as easy as it sounds. Use stash yarn that you've had at least prior to the start of this year and knit or crochet anything. There's no size limits. You can make ornaments, you can make sweaters, you can make a jumper, whatever you want. Just feel free to join us. There's a few more weeks, so if you have been shopping your stash, please feel free to join. So my first prize is going to be 2 skeins of ample fiber yarn. One is limestone, this one, and this one is granite. These are both 4-ply merino sock fingering yarn. They are 440 grams, or 440 yards, 100 grams, and I thought these 2 went really well together. I also picked up this gorgeous Knitting for Olive pattern book. I have never knit one of their patterns before, but it's just a gorgeous book, and I'm trying not to handle it too much so that it stays in beautiful shape for you, but the photography is amazing. The patterns are very classic looking. I love the one on the front. Like, that was the pattern that kind of called to me. And then I also have 2 of these yarn cake holders. So if you have never used these before and you are a center pull person, these are really helpful. These are from Knitting Notions. Are they all? Yes, thank goodness. And this one says Born to Knit. And then this one is just cute little gnomes. So that and probably some other goodies will go out to one of you. And all of my make-alongs are open to everyone, no matter where you live. I will ship out to you. I'm just so grateful that you choose to participate along with me. The second physical prize is 2 more skeins of ample fiber yarn. This one is Canyon Red Rock, and this one is Sandstone. I should also tell you, these are the softest skeins of yarn. They're incredibly soft. They would be wonderful for garment, for something around your neck, for hat, for gloves, mitts, socks, anything. Just gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. And then paired with this, I have 52 Weeks of Easy Knits. This is a Lina publication, and this is just another great book. If you've ever had one of their books, the photography is wonderful. This one, some of the patterns are really great. There's socks, there's sweaters, there's scarves. Yeah, like just really good stuff in there. And then I have 2 more cake holders. I think people call them like yarn condoms too, but this one says, I knit therefore I swear. And then I don't think this is from Knitting Notions. This one seems to be different. This is just a pretty one. So those are the prizes. I will also do 2 pattern prizes as well. This was a long make along, so I want to make sure that I can celebrate as much as possible all of you guys that have been shopping your stash and doing this with me all year. You guys are incredible, and it's been so awesome to see what you've all been knitting. Okay, really quick, I am wearing my Party Line scarf. This is a pattern by Kaci Apple, and I made this a couple months ago with some Le Garçon mohair that was left over. And yeah, I like this scarf, and it just felt like it worked today. It's been pretty cold here, so it feels good to have something around my neck to just keep me a little extra warm. And this is not a hand knit item. I am wearing commercial clothing today. Okay, I have 2 finished objects today, and one of them is not with me. It is a second Party Line scarf that I made for my sister-in-law. I made it because she saw this and she really liked it, and she wanted one as well. So I had some Stolen Stitches Nua Sport yarn in the color Kitten Fluff. So it looks just like this, except not very, this is a mohair, so it's a little bit less puffy looking, and which means that the pattern's a little bit more defined, and it's in gray. But that's my first finished object for today. And I will say this would be a great holiday gift if you're looking for something to knit up pretty quickly. The pattern calls for sport, but I think you could make it in fingering or decay, possibly worsted as well. I think it's a pretty, I haven't tried any of this, but I think it's a pattern that you could play around with a lot. So the one that I made for my sister-in-law, if I didn't say, the designer is Kaci Apple, and I started it on October 27th and finished it on November 8th. And that was while I was working on a lot of different things as well. So you could probably make this in one day if you wanted to. Okay, my next finished object is also neckwear. I'm getting a phone call. I'm gonna have to pause this for a second. All right, so my next finished object is my Scarf Season Test Knit for Tiff Neilan. This, I started this on October 22nd and finished it on November 5th. So again, pretty quick for me in the knitting world, considering I always am knitting on a million different things. And I used Sweet Skein of Mine DK in the color Drunk Elephant, and then for the first half of the scarf. And then at the second half, I switched to Knit Picks Andine Treasure in Fog Heather, held with Knit Picks Aloft in Carbon. So here it is. So I think you've seen a lot of this last time. So this is the textured section with the Drunk Elephant yarn, and I just love it so much. It was so fun. The texture was really fun to do, and these colors made me really happy. And then I switched over to the Knit Picks and then stockinette stitch for the second half of the scarf. And I really, really, really like how this turned out. I think it's really great. So I'm gonna put it on for you. And it's just a gorgeous sweater, and this is gonna be for one of my sister-in-laws for Christmas. It's super soft up here around your neck, and I just think it's a combination of warm and gorgeous, and it makes me really happy. It is a little bit longer than maybe I would have knit it, but since I was doing a test knit, I did not futz around with the length at all. But I mean, you can, everybody knows, you can wear scarves a lot of different ways, and you can highlight different parts of it however you want. But this turned out really well, and I'm really happy with it, and I think it's going to be a lovely gift for my sister-in-law. So I did a great job doing this in time for the test knit, but I did not do a great job of like promoting it on Instagram. I just have been really struggling with social media lately. A combination of spending too much time on it and also not being happy when I'm on it. So there's certain things I can't give up because of, you know, having to just be in touch with what's going on in my kids' lives. But oh man, I'm looking forward to a future with much less social media. I just don't love it right now. But yeah, those were my finished objects. And next, let's go into my whips. So the first whip I'm gonna share with you is a scrap project I've been working on for the holidays. So this is kind of a combination of finished objects and works in progress, which is why I'm gonna start with this one. Every year I make Christmas ornaments for certain family members and some friends, and I've done hats in the past. I'm looking at the craft, we have a craft tree that has all of our handmade ornaments on it in front of me, so I'm trying to see what else. I know I've done socks and hats, and like I did baubles one year. I've done like, once I thought I was gonna make a hexie blanket with like all stuffed hexies, and after I did a few I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that, so I made them into ornaments. So yeah, so this year I'm doing tiny sweater ornaments. It is, I believe, a free pattern on Ravelry. I cannot pronounce the designer's name, so I will put it on the screen now, and I will also list it below in my pattern notes. But I've made quite a few, so here's one. They're just so cute. I'm thinking about if I'm going to add like some sparkle to them, or if I'm going to do some duplicate stitch like of initials or embroidery. So these aren't 100% done, but if I had to gift them right now, I could. And then that was some Knit Picks yarn. I think palette held double. This was left over from my Douglas Cardi, and I will say I did not love this yarn for these ornaments, so I only used 2 of the scraps, but this one definitely needs something. And then this one I messed up quite a bit, but it's an ornament, so we're not going to worry about it too much. It's fine. It's the only one that I really made mistakes on. This one, I couldn't tell you what this scrap is, but I really like it. And then this one, same thing. And I left the tail at the top because I'm probably gonna use that somehow to make like the ornament hanger. So is that one? That one's probably for my daughter. And then this one is the most recent one I finished. This one I did using fingering and mohair held double. The other ones I blocked. This one hasn't been blocked yet, so you can tell it looks a little bit smooshier. And it has like a funny, this one has a funny line where like the mohair got really dark in the middle. And then I'm currently, this one is also fingering and mohair. This one is in progress. So yeah, so that's one. Sleeve Island. It takes these go so fast. I think I can make them in about an hour, like one full tiny sweater. So these have been really fun to work on just at night while I'm relaxing, or, you know, pretending to watch football with my husband, but I'm really listening to a book and knitting, that kind of thing. So these have been great. I think I'm gonna try to get 3 or 4 more done, just so I have enough for all the people in my life that look forward to my handmade ornaments. So yeah, my sister's sons especially, they're both in college now, and you know, they've noticed that I've leveled up in my knitting and my ornament making in the past few years. So they're like always interested to see what I'm gonna come up with. And I'm like, because I do them so quickly, like I don't have a ton of time. Mine are pretty simple, but I know that other people could probably do much more intricate ornaments, but it's what they get. All right, my next work in progress is my port sweater. This has been coming along nicely. This is a pattern by Ozetta. I started this on September 20th, It's kind of on hold right now just because of all of my holiday knitting, but this is the Ozetta. I love it very much. I'm really excited for this sweater, like really excited. And it's coming along really well, I think, I hope. The yarn I'm using is Wool Dreamers Moda in the natural, and then Biche and Bouche in gray beige, and that's the mohair. So it's holding 2 yarns together. And you start this pattern with the back panel, and then you pick up and knit the front panel. So you can kind of see that. I feel like something went a little wrong with me where I probably had, I don't know, like 6 or 12 more rows I was supposed to do on the front panel, but that was gonna really make this like funny. So I didn't follow the pattern completely. I just kind of went on my gut instinct and thought like, I think this makes more sense. And that's where we're at. I tried it on and it fits, so I think we're good. But yeah, then you connect the 2 sides under the arms, and then yeah, now I'm just in my stockinette dream of body knitting, and I probably have a good 3 more inches until I start the ribbing. The ribbing on this, the bottom hem nimby, oh goodness. Let's just take a breather. Take a breather. Okay. The bottom ribbing on this is pretty long. So I think I just have a couple more inches before I start that. I'll try it on again soon before I do that, but probably, to be honest, not until after the holidays, just because you'll see I do this to myself every year. If you've been watching for 4 years, you know it's like mad dash this time of year for me to like get all the gifts that I want to make for people out of my head and under a tree. So I'm really happy with this. It's coming along really great, and yeah. Okay, next is going to be a new cast on. This, I decided to cast on the Piece de Resistance Mittens by Bristol Ivy. I casted these on November 7th, which may sound like a significant date for some of you in the United States. And this is the pattern. So the election this year was a tough one for me for many reasons. And I just afterwards felt like I wanted to make something. These were originally going to be for my sister, but then after I chose my stash yarn, I decided these are going to be for me because these are packer colors and I can get away with it. And they're beautiful, but I didn't realize how Green Bay packers they were going to look until I cast them on. I love working on these. Granted, I feel like I've made a good amount of color work in my time. That's the wrong hand. But I still struggle with it. I think one thing on this project is I think for Magic Loop, I should have had, I think this is 30-inch cord. I think I needed a 40. So I think having a longer cord would have been a little bit better. But I love how the colors are working together. I'm really, really happy with these. Some of my stitches are just, especially on the thumb, they're a little messy, which is another reason I decided not to make these for my sister. I mean, these thumb increases, because it was on the end of that Magic Loop cord, I think just turned out a little bit sloppier. I'm hoping a lot of this blocks out, but if it doesn't, it's okay. They're for me, and I'm really happy with them. They're bringing me a lot of joy. So these I'm gonna keep working on, and probably, again, these are probably gonna go on hold until after I finish some other knitting for the holidays, but you know, if I can have them for the winter, that will be really nice. For anyone new, I take my dog for 3 walks a day, every day, no matter the weather, except now that she's getting older, she does not enjoy the rain at all, which good for me. But she's never been a dog that has gone to the bathroom in the yard. So in order to get her to do her stuff, I have to take her for a walk. And so that means I have to take her for a walk when it's freezing outside too. That's on me, that's how I trained her, but it is what it is. Okay, let's move on to a pair of socks. So for Christmas for my husband, we're putting in a new back deck this coming spring, and we bought a new gazebo with like, goodness gracious, how do I explain it? It's not like fancy. It's a metal gazebo with a metal top. We've always had one in the back. I don't know why I touched my head. We've always had one in the back, but it's been canvas. And every year the canvas rips. So it's about $130 to replace that canvas every year. So we just thought, we're gonna be redoing the deck anyway. Let's get a different one with a metal top. And so that's what we got each other for Christmas. And then, so we're not doing much else. And so my husband's gonna get a pair of socks in a stocking from me. That was a long story to get to these socks. So these are the Evermore socks. It's a vanilla shorty sock. I'm calling it Evermore because the yarn is Nomadic Knits. Nope, Nomadic Yarns in Evermore. And it's just beautiful self-striping. This one, I did not have to cut the stripes at all. There's a little thicker orange stripe there, but then the sequence pretty much stays the same. I did a heel flap and gusset, and I'm really happy with this. So I totally thought I was much further on the second sock than I am. So the good news is I started it. The bad news is, like, I barely started it. So I'm hoping to finish this sock by Christmas morning. Wish me luck. My husband is also one of those people who will be perfectly fine with me giving him one sock on Christmas and then knowing that the other one is coming. He's really lovely that way. Pretty much everybody in my life is. I actually gave one of my friends a skein once for her birthday. And then I took it back. I said, this is my intention. I'm going to make you these socks. And then she was like, oh, that's pretty. And then I took it back and I made her socks. But most of the people in my life are very understanding that, you know, I bite off more than I can chew a lot of the time. So those are coming. I just realized I never put this back on. So I'm going to, because it's part of my outfit today. Okay, there we go. All right, so my next work in progress this is something I had no business working on. I had started, this is a Northeasterly DK blanket by Skein-Anigans. I don't know when I started this. I was going to frog it, and then I pulled it out a couple weeks ago because I was hunting for DK yarn for these tiny sweaters. And I was like, I don't think I want to frog this. I think I want to keep it. And I think I want to work on it right now. So that's what I did. So I restarted it in Ravelry, and I just put a start date of 2020. I don't know if that's correct, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. So this is what I've had laying around for a couple of years, waiting to be frogged. And then this is what I've added since rediscovering it. So if you're not familiar with the Northeasterly blanket, you basically do these strips and then you connect them together. And I have a fingering weight Northeasterly that I'm doing with all of my row 1 minis, and then I'm alternating with a gray Dove Heather. This one I'm making truly scrap. I mean, I have a lot of gray yarn. I just pull a stitch there. I have a ton of gray yarn, so there will probably be a lot of gray in this blanket, but I'm not doing it the way that I'm not like designing it the way I'm designing the other blanket. And designing is not really a word, but patterning it, if that makes sense. So this is a bag full of scraps. I'll probably also use some fingering held double as well at some point in time, because I really just want to get through some of my scrap yarn this year, or next year, I guess I should say. Sorry, I just hit the tripod. But yeah, I just need to get through some scraps. So this will be another scrappy project. I am so well-intentioned all the time. Okay, Next, I have another new cast on, which was a sweater. Again, I shouldn't have done it, but I really wanted to. So I cast on the Hudson Valley Cider by Thea Colman. This was using stash yarn that's got kind of a funny story. So I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts Worsted, which I think is their box office base, and the colorway Bent Neck Lady, which is a reference to the Haunting of Hill House show that was on Netflix like 3 years ago. So this is definitely a stash yarn. So the funny thing about this sweater, sorry, I'm trying to find the picture, the pattern picture, is I bought a sweater quantity of this yarn a while ago. And then, there it is, beautiful. And then I decided that, you know, maybe I should destash it because I had too much yarn. So I destashed it. And then I missed it. So I purchased it a second time, which means I spent probably more money on this yarn than makes any sense. But I never ever had a pattern in mind for this yarn, and I just wanted to use it. So I started looking in my Ravelry library. I always have a lot of, well, I have a lot of patterns because I have no self-control. And I just started searching for worsted weight sweaters in my library, and I purchased this one at one point in time. I thought, this is nice. So here it is. I'll show this side. You start at the bottom, so it's another bottom up sweater, and you start with making the ribbing separate, and then you join the ribbing and you do this really fun cable pattern. And for one of the cables, I do have to use a cable needle. So there it is, waiting for me, ready to go. But I'm just really, really enjoying this. It's just got these, it's a great texture. It is on a kind of small needle. I did a gauge swatch and got gauge. I will probably try it on once I get a little bit further on. I think I decided on a size 3. So I'm hoping it's a good fit. We'll see. It does stretch quite a bit. This is superwash yarn, so that should also stretch. That was something that I also thought about as I was choosing what size I was gonna make this in. I just hope it works. Bottom up always worries me because yeah, it's just, you hope for the best, I guess. But this is my first Thea Colman pattern. I'm really excited. I have a lot of her patterns in my library, so I'm excited to finally be casting one on. This is the Bent Neck Lady. It's a pink with splashes of darker color. It's really pretty. I always say I'm not a pink person, but sometimes I am. So yeah, that's coming along. This will be on hold until after the holidays as well. Okay, and then we have Milo socks for Christmas. I'm closer on Milo's. So this is also Nomadic Yarns, Lake Life, self-striping. It's called, I said Lake Life, right? So here's the first one. Milo is right now 64 stitches magic loop. Nathan is 72. For this one, I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I did cut the yarn to maintain the striping pattern on the front of the sock, but I only had to cut out one stripe, which is kind of fun because I just did it on the second sock. So I'm much closer on his. I should be able to finish his sock within the next few days. I just have to do the foot now, and then Milo will have one pair of socks for Christmas. So these should be done hopefully in time. Okay, and then we have Claire's socks for Christmas. Claire informed me that she would like blue socks, but I had to take a look at we have the same size foot. So I had to take a look at my works in progress and think about what she might like that I could potentially finish in time for Christmas. So I decided she's getting the Fuzzy Feet socks that I started by Forest City Knit Girls. You guys have seen these now so many times, but anyway, first sock is done. It's a great slip stitch sock, fits amazing. I love it. The yarn is Suburban Stitcher, fingering in Cowl and Shell, and I love these very, very much. And I am just about to start the heel on the second sock. This is, if I could recommend one sock I don't know, I couldn't recommend one sock pattern, but if I could recommend a great colorwork sock pattern, this would be one of them. So much fun. And I know that the original pattern calls for some mohair, which is why it's called Fuzzy Feet. I did not do mohair this time, but I could definitely see myself making these again and incorporating the mohair that they recommend. So hopefully those will be done in time for Christmas for Claire. And then after that, I will make her blue socks. My daughter is her style right now is very like beige. I feel like that's a big teenager thing right now. Like they like all the cream and the beige and the browns, and that's great. And so for her to want any color is wonderful. And I hope she likes these socks, but if not, I'll take them back and then I'll make her blue socks. Either way, it's gonna be fine. She'll have socks in her. I feel a little bit bad that I'm not giving her what she wants. She also would like, she told me she would like a cream hat with a certain color pom-pom, and I said, I can definitely do that. So there's a chance I might even try to cast that on before Christmas, along with the socks, so that at least she'll have something in her stocking that she loves, but we'll see. It's already December 10th. I can only do so much. Okay. And then finally, I think we're at the last work in progress. So that one fell. For my sister who lives in Seattle, that is not the right bag. There it is. Okay. I have a lot around me today. I decided to make my sister a cowl this year. I've learned she does not really love handmade socks. I think that I make them a little too small because she tells me that she's a size 11, but I think her feet might actually be bigger. And so I've never measured her feet. I'm just going by what she says. And I think she might have bigger feet than what she tells me because she always says they're too small. But that's fine. So I'll make her other things. So I decided to cast on the Dissent Cowl. This is a pattern by Carissa Browning. And I'm using all stash yarn for this again. For my dark color, I'm holding Leo and Roxy Basics in Queen's Navy with Neighborhood Fiber Company Easterwood. And then I don't know what my light color is. It was a mystery skein. If I had to guess, I would think maybe Leading in Fiber Arts in like a sandstone, but I'm not sure. So this is really fun. I'm really loving it. This is styled after Ruth Bader Ginsburg's collar. And yeah, so you can see it's all slip stitches, mosaic knitting, my favorite thing. And then I'm in the jeweled section down below. I am a little bit concerned that I'm going to run out of yarn, but I don't know. I really just can't tell. So these are the two blues. So this is navy, and then this is that Neighborhood Fiber Company. It's like so great with like different shades of blue and green. I don't know how they achieve that color. It is amazing. It reminds me of looking out on like a lake and like how the water ripples. That's what this reminds me of. It's so pretty. I just love it. And then this is that mystery DK. I'm not sure. I just don't know. And that's very unlike me. I usually have all my tags stuffed in the middle. I'm very good at knowing what my yarn is. I have no idea what that is. So yeah, this is coming along. I'm hoping to finish this within the next 5 days. And then I will send a few of those sweater ornaments, this and some other goodies out to Seattle. Hopefully we'll get there in time for Christmas. It normally does. So that's it for the works in progress. I feel like I went through that pretty quickly. So hopefully you got to see enough. Every year too, I tend to make my parents Christmas socks. I've had the luxury of having some sock tubes the last few years, and I have a couple more. So I think this year I'm still gonna make it. So yeah, this is a sock tube I'm working on for my mom. I did this cuff a long time ago. This is, I don't know, a scrap yarn that I have. I'm not in love with that contrast. I now wish I would have done like more of a red or something, but we're gonna go with it because I don't have time to rip it out and do something different. Maybe I could do red for the heels and toes or something. We'll see. But this is Murray Wool Goods. I don't remember the colorway. I can list it below because I know I have it in my stash on Ravelry, so I can look it up. But yeah, so this is gonna be for my mom. She just came over yesterday and gave me a pair of socks that she has worn a hole in on the heel. So I'm gonna be patching those for her too, but that might have to happen after Christmas. We'll just have to see. For my dad, I didn't really have a great option this year because my dad has large flat feet. But I have this fiber seed sprout sock in the color Balsam Range, and I don't love it for my dad. My dad's not this kind of person, but I don't have any other 72 stitch cranked tubes that would work. The other thing is this is not especially soft, which I'm a little disappointed in. I would say in general, it's very stretchy and it looks nice. It just, for my dad, it's a little much. So I don't know. I mean, I think I'm gonna use it, but I don't know what I'm gonna pair it with yet, but it's my real only option. I was looking at my other sock tubes that I had, and none of the other ones are 72 stitches. And because of my dad's flat feet, I don't think that he can have a tighter gauge tube. So these won't be our favorite, but he'll have socks. My dad only wears his socks to bed anyway, so I mean, it's not like anyone's gonna see them. All right, I cannot put that right on my notes. Okay, and then because I'm doing sock tubes and I always like to push the envelope, my friend Anna, who is a viewer of this channel, sent me this sock tube earlier this year because I always complain that, like, especially this one, I had these cranked by someone online on Etsy or something. The gauge is so loose that these actually would never work for me. They would slide right off of my feet and ankles. So Anna sent me some really nicely cranked, tighter sock tubes. And as soon as this one came in the mail from her, I thought about Milo. So I think I'm gonna try to do this for Milo as well, and then add this blue for the heel toes and cuffs. And I thought those would be really nice. Milo loves my socks, so he might get extra. I have to be careful though. Then I have to make the hat for Claire. Oh gosh. So yeah, those are the plans. I will try to get on here again before Christmas to show you what I've accomplished before I hand everything out, but I make no promises because I can't always keep them, but it will be my intention to do that. I also am really interested in making, I saw this flat Christmas tree and pom-pom garland that I'll list the pattern below, that I thought was just so awesome and would be really fun to make and give away to some people because you know, I need more stuff to do. My dog also really needs a new sweater. My poor Penelope has been wearing the same Christmas sweater, or the same winter sweater, it's not a Christmas sweater, winter sweater for probably 7 years, and it's looking rough. So she's got to get a sweater. I don't think I can get that done for Christmas, but she won't know. So I'll do that probably after the holidays as well. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep plugging away on all of this and see where it takes me. So yeah, that's all the knitting information. I'm gonna be moving into book club next. So if you're only here for the knitting, thank you so much. I'm always happy to hear from you. Let me know what you're working on and what are you guys doing for holiday knitting? Do you go crazy like me, or are you more like, whatever. I wish I was like that, I'm just not. But yeah, so if that's it, don't forget to comment below if you want to be entered in the giveaway for my 500 subscriber and 4-year podiversary celebration, and I'll see you next time. And if you're here for book club, I got a lot to share, so let's get into that. I have reached my reading goal ahead of schedule. I've read 100 books for the year, which is my goal. It is the only goal I'm going to reach for this year, and that's okay, because I'm proud of it. So let me share what I've been reading recently. This is going back into, I think, October, because I didn't share last time the specific books that I had been reading. I just kind of generally talked about them, so I will get into that more right now. I finished The Menendez Murders by Robert Rand. I gave that 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Robert Rand was one of the journalist who was at all of the Menendez trials, and I thought this was a really interesting book and really well covered the case really well. So if you're into true crime or even just the Menendez murders, like half the world right now because of the Netflix stuff, check it out. It was worth the read. I read The Score by Elle Kennedy. I gave that 3 stars. That's a contemporary romance about hockey players. It was fine. I read The Goal by Elle Kennedy. I only gave that 2 stars. I did not like this one nearly as much. Not even that I like the other one that much. Those were my airplane listens to just keep me kind of grounded. They were pretty spicy for an airplane. I think I didn't take that into consideration, but I was fine. We got through it. Then I read Hung Jury by Hazel Thornton. This was also about the Menendez murders. I read this one because I just thought it was an interesting perspective. We don't get a lot of books by juries that I'm aware of, or members of the jury, and I thought it was a really, really cool perspective to get kind of what the process was like, and her just thoughts about the whole thing. I thought it was good. She's not an especially gifted writer, but I thought that it was a good book nonetheless. I give it 3 stars, worth reading if you're interested. The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. I give that 3 stars. I almost did not get through this book. I don't know what it was. This book probably took me 3 weeks. It was on Audible. The narrator they had 2 narrators, and the male one was terrible. He had an affected Spanish accent, like Spanish from Spain, that I just did not like. And I also felt that it was too much of these 2 characters together all the time. There wasn't enough outside world in the story for me. And so finally I put it on double speed, and then it got better. So I don't know what that says. I don't know if I would recommend it. I had a friend that read it that loved it, so maybe it's just me. And it could have been like my state of mind at the time as well, who knows, but not my favorite. But I read it and I gave it 3 stars. All right, The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. This was one of my before bed books, which means I was reading it, a physical book, not on Audible. And I liked it. There were some things that were a little weird at the end that I don't feel totally made sense, but I liked it enough, so I gave it 3 stars. Then I read Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I gave this 4 stars. I liked this book so much. It was so weird. Like, I kind of don't know why I even picked it up. And she starts out with a bunch of trigger warnings, and basically it's about 2 Dexter-esque serial killers that fall in love. And it's really, really outside of the box, really funny. There's like some gross stuff, there's some funny stuff, there's some sweet stuff. Like, I really like this book. I don't know, I thought it's not something I thought I would like, but I really, really enjoyed it. So I would recommend it if you're looking for something outside the box. It is weird, but I loved it. It reminded me of some books I read, a long time ago. I don't remember the author, but the first one was called Hold Me Closer, Necromancer. And I actually think I have that on Audible because I'd like to read those books again, because they're also very kind of weird and outside of the box and cleverly written. So yeah. Then I read The Love of My Life by Rosie Walsh, and I gave this 4 stars. I really liked it. I also think that the lovely British narrators bumped it up for me. I loved listening to this book. It had 2 kind of storylines that danced around each other and married really well. I just thought it was a really well told story, and I was all in. I liked it a lot. Variation by Rebecca Yarros. I give it 3 stars. I will read anything that Rebecca Yarros puts out. Some of them I will like more than others. I thought this was fine. It wasn't one of her best, but it was fine, and I enjoyed it. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. I gave that 3 stars. That was one of my physical before bed books. I like this one. This one was more of like a thriller mystery thriller. Although it wasn't that thrilling, but I enjoyed it. I liked the characters a lot. I thought that there was a lot of really, like, I don't know, there was nothing incredibly stand out-ish about it, except that it had a great arc and it ended nicely, and I was happy when it was done, and I thought that was a good read. So 3 stars from me. And I know that that's really different, because then I say other books, I say like 3 stars, it was fine, but this one was a 3-star plus, I guess. I would read it. I would recommend this one. Then I read Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I give that 4 stars. I feel like this book was so heavily advertised to me that finally I was like, fine, I'll use one of my Audible credits and get it. There's no way I was gonna purchase this book on Audible because it was over $44. So I was like, what is this book that everybody's so excited about? And it's basically like A Court of Thorns and Roses, like Sarah J. Maas feeling, fantasy, romantasy, and it was fine. It was good. I saw that Netflix already optioned it for a television show, so we'll see what happens. But it was enjoyable. I got into it. It was fine. Broody, tall, dark, handsome. It always works. So then I read Legend by Marie Lu. This was a reread for me. My daughter's been very into this series, so I had read it several years ago and I picked it up for a reread, and I thought it was still pretty good. It took me a little bit longer to get invested in it than I remember, but once I was in, I really enjoyed it. If you've never read it, it's a pretty cool dystopian retelling of Les Mis, at least the first book is, and yeah, it's good. It's a good read. Okay, then I read Cruel Winter with You, which was a novella by Ali Hazelwood, and I actually really liked it. I give it I guess I only gave it 3 stars, but I thought it was really good. I could have had more. I thought she did a really masterful job of digging into 2 characters and this like story in a very short amount of time. So I thought it was good. I would recommend that if you're looking for a really quick winter read. Oh my goodness, I need a little sip of tea. I'm almost done. Okay, and then I read Leather and Lark, which is the second book by Brynne Weaver. So it took the first characters, it's like secondary characters from Butcher and Blackbird. It's their story, but like all the same characters are kind of in the mix, so it was really satisfying. I think I liked Butcher and Blackbird better, but this one was also very good. Again, weird, spicy, in like bizarre ways, but like I liked it. I enjoyed it. Apparently I'm finding like a new like genre that I didn't know that I liked. So there's, I think, a third and final book coming out in the new year that I will probably pre-order because I really enjoy her writing. Her writing is really strong, which I think is what makes this work. So I've been really happy with reading these books. And then I read, give me a second, it's gonna come to me because I didn't write it down. It's not in my notes. My Oxford Year by Julia Walsh, I think. I listened to this on Audible. I liked it a lot. I'll give it 4 stars. It starts out as one thing, it turns into another thing. Definitely, you might need some tissues if you read it, but it was very, very good and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's a debut book. One thing I liked about it is I'm an English major, and I loved that the main character is a Rhodes Scholar in Oxford, and she is studying literature. And so there's a lot of literature quotes from the time period that she's studying spattered throughout the book, which made it really lovely. So I really enjoyed it a lot. It's still with me. It was a good one. So right now I'm reading Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose, and I'm enjoying it more than I've enjoyed some of her past books that I've read. And then I am also reading in my ears on Audible. I'm reading, see, I didn't write this down because these notes are old. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. All of this information that I can just remember is amazing to me because when I'm at my job, I'm like, huh, what? Did you send me an email about that? Yeah, we can tell where like my brain is the most engaged for sure. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. My gosh, thank you. I would give you a hug if I could. I know this was a long one today, so thanks for sticking with me. And yes, remember to like, subscribe, comment, all those things if you feel like it. I'm gonna try to get back on here before the holidays so I can share all of my gift knits before I gift them away. I may not get all of them on here because I may have to send some in the mail, but I'll try to at least record some footage that I can put in as well. But thank you so much. I will see you soon and take care. I hope you're well. This is a weird world we're living in these days, so take care of yourself and yeah, happy knitting. I'll see you soon. Bye.